We have not lived in the same state for about 10 years now, but we do communicate, and I do think we're very close.
And do you text with her on a regular basis?
Yes.
And can you tell us what you observed about her around the holiday season as it related to her, from your observations and your texting and your communications? What did she tell you about seeing the doctors, and if she was on any medication, and if so, what effect did they have on her?
So the first thing she said about the doctors was back in October when she said that she saw a doctor for Zoloft.
Before we get into this testimony, pay close attention to what the jury is about to hear, because this witness isn't describing one isolated conversation or one bad day. She is laying out a timeline, a gradual change she says she personally observed in her sister Lindsay from the holiday season of 2022 into January 2023. And that distinction matters. In a courtroom, the question isn't simply whether someone was struggling. The bigger question is what the evidence shows about their condition, what they communicated to the people around them, and what happened afterward. The witness is Lindsay's sister, so the jury already knows there is an emotional connection here, and later, the attorney even acknowledges that potential bias by asking whether Lindsay was a complainer. But family testimony can still be important when it is based on first-hand observations, direct conversations, and a documented sequence of events. And listen to the progression. Thanksgiving, a noticeable change in mood and energy. December, worsening depression and reported suicidal thoughts. Medical treatment and medication changes. A voluntary hospital admission. Then a brief period where Lindsay appeared to believe she was moving in a better direction. After that comes January, and eventually, the devastating events that completely changed this family's lives. So as you watch, ask yourself, how much weight should a jury give a family member describing someone's mental and emotional state? Where does personal observation end and interpretation begin? And most importantly, what does this timeline tell us about what Lindsay's family members actually knew before the tragedy unfolded? Let's break it down.
You know Lindsay?
I do.
How do you know her?
Lindsay is my sister.
And can you tell us, are you close to Lindsay? Do you live near each other? Do you socialize? What type of relationship have you had with her?
We're very close. We have not lived in the same state for about 10 years now, but we do communicate, and I do think we're very close.
And do you text with her on a regular basis?
Yes.
And you talk on the phone, do you?
Occasionally.
Directing your attention to the fall of, well, actually heading into like Thanksgiving and Christmas of 2022, do you remember that time frame?
Yes.
And did you have occasion to see your sister during that period of time?
Yes.
And let's direct our attention to, let's say, Thanksgiving 2022. Had you noticed any change in Lindsay's personality or any observation of how she appeared to you?
I will say on Thanksgiving in particular is when the first time I saw her in person after quite some time. I had known she had not been doing well via text message communication that we had. I think on Thanksgiving, she, her mood did not look good, her energy, she didn't seem very energized. It definitely seemed off from how I've seen her in the past.
And were you aware that that carried through from November into December, around the holiday season, if you had stayed in touch with her?
Yes.
And can you tell us what you observed about her around the holiday season as it related to her, from your observations and your texting and your communications with Lindsay? How did she appear to you at that point?
The beginning of December, it seemed like she very much decompensated. I do remember her saying at one point at the beginning of December, something along the lines of, I'm in a really tough spot. And knowing what she had shared with me previously about how her mental health had been struggling, I had this gut feeling that something was off and that she was really struggling, and I asked her if she was safe.
What did she say?
She said yes at that point.
And you knew her husband, Pat?
Yes.
And you knew the kids?
Yes.
Obviously. Do you recall around Christmas itself, and perhaps a little bit thereafter, that you spoke with her and that she indicated, basically, I'm not doing okay?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury what you observed about her demeanor or her symptomology when you said she was decompensating around that time? What were they symptoms in your mind of?
Based on communication with Lindsay, and I started communicating with Pat directly at that time, she was reporting her mood was worsening, as she described as depression. She was having more suicidal thoughts. Insomnia continued to be an issue. She was really not feeling like herself.
And did you know that during that period of time where she was telling you about the suicidal thoughts and the issue of depression, that she was seeing doctors?
Yes.
And what did she tell you about seeing the doctors, and if she was on any medication, and if so, what effect did they have on her?
So the first thing she said about the doctors was back in October when she said that she saw a doctor for Zoloft and had a very awful reaction to that Zoloft.
Would that be Dr. Tufts?
I don't believe she shared that specific with me.
Share the name? Okay.
No. And then I think throughout our communication over the couple months of October to December, she did share with me that she was going to doctors, she was getting different prescriptions, kind of all the things that they were trying and different treatments they were looking at.
And do you recall when you were talking with her about her symptoms towards the end of December that she had, in your words, decompensated significantly and stated to you that she felt nothing and that she was scared, things of that nature?
Yes.
What else did she tell you, if you recall?
At the end of December, so I think it was more along the same of, that she is really not feeling well. Her mood is down. She's feeling numb. She's feeling hopeless. I believe at the very end of the month, she told me she had had suicidal ideation every day for a month.
Do you recall?
This is a major turning point in the testimony. Up to this point, the witness has described a gradual deterioration. Lindsay appeared different around Thanksgiving, became increasingly withdrawn and unwell in December, reported worsening depression and insomnia, and, according to the witness, began talking about suicidal thoughts. Now the testimony becomes even more specific. The witness says Lindsay told her that she had experienced suicidal ideation every day for a month. That statement is significant because it gives the jury a much more concrete picture of what the witness says Lindsay was communicating. But notice something equally important. The witness is not presenting herself as Lindsay's doctor. She repeatedly describes what Lindsay told her and what she personally observed. That distinction matters in evaluating testimony. A family member can testify about conversations and observations, but medical diagnoses and treatment decisions are ultimately matters for qualified professionals and the evidence presented to the court. Then comes another critical fact. Lindsay voluntarily admitted herself to a hospital around New Year's. That doesn't erase everything that came before it, but it does show that the situation had escalated to the point where inpatient care occurred. And here's the question for the audience. When someone is clearly telling people close to them that they are struggling, how should those warning signs be understood in hindsight? Is the family supposed to recognize exactly how serious the situation is? Or can these symptoms remain difficult to interpret even for people who care deeply about the person? The testimony is about to move from crisis to what initially appeared to be recovery.
Do you recall towards the end of the month around New Year's that she voluntarily admitted herself somewhere?
Yes.
Do you know where she admitted herself?
McLean Hospital.
And while she was at McLean Hospital, ultimately, do you know how she got out of McLean Hospital?
It was my understanding that she was weaning off of some medication that she was on, and then was eventually discharged 5 days later.
Now, did you see her or talk to her after she left McLean Hospital trying to wean herself off of whatever medication it was? Because you don't know what the medication was, right?
I believe it was Seroquel.
Seroquel.
Yep.
Did she tell you anything to the effect that when she got out of the hospital that she felt as though this was a step in the right direction? Did she seem as though she was trying to be positive about her life?
Yes.
And tell us about that, because up until this point you had observed her decompensating and having these symptoms and suicidal ideation and depression and feeling nothing and scary. When she got out of McLean, what did she appear to you and what did she say to you?
I believe she said she felt that that was a good plan and that she was starting to feel better.
So was your sister, in your opinion, granted she's your sister and you're biased, obviously, but was she a complainer?
No.
And obviously she didn't share with you in detail her doctors and medicines and things of that nature. Is that fair?
No.
But you were aware of the struggles and the hurt that she was going through.
Yes.
And then through the month of January, did you have occasion to see her, or were you, because you still live in different states?
Yes. Yes, I did have an occasion to see her in January.
When?
We went to Cora's birthday party.
And that was at the trampoline park?
Yes.
How did she appear at that?
I think she looked like she was going through the motions of putting together a birthday party for her daughter.
This portion of the testimony is especially important because it complicates the story. Lindsay had been hospitalized, had reportedly been weaning off medication, and, according to her sister, came out believing that the plan was a positive step and that she was beginning to feel better. That means the timeline isn't simply a straight line from worsening symptoms to tragedy. There was apparently a period where Lindsay herself believed things were moving in the right direction. But then the January birthday party becomes another piece of the puzzle. The witness says Lindsay appeared to be going through the motions of organizing her daughter's birthday celebration, while still looking tired and as though she was struggling. That is a subtle observation, but it matters because the witness is comparing Lindsay's appearance and behavior with the person she knew before. And this is where hindsight can become extremely powerful and potentially misleading. Once people know the terrible outcome, earlier behavior can suddenly appear like an obvious warning sign. But before the outcome occurred, those same behaviors may not have carried the same meaning. That is one of the central challenges in courtroom testimony involving a person's mental state. The jury has to separate what was actually observed at the time from conclusions that can only be drawn after the fact. So what do you think? Does appearing functional, planning a child's birthday, communicating with family, saying you're starting to feel better, necessarily mean someone is actually okay? Or can someone be struggling internally while still carrying out ordinary responsibilities? The next part of this testimony takes the case from concerning observations to an unimaginable family tragedy.
But she looked tired. She looked like she was still struggling.
So there was a difference in your observation of what you had known your sister to have as a personality.
Yes.
And then, of course, the horrible day, were you aware, or did somebody call you and tell you that the children had been killed?
Yes.
One of them still survived and ultimately passed.
Yes.
And do you recall who told you that?
Yes.
Who was that?
My mother.
And as a result of getting the call from your mother, what did you do?
I jumped in a car, packed a bag, and I sped up to South Shore Hospital, which is where I was told she was.
Did you see her in South Shore Hospital?
No.
Did you know that she was then transferred to another hospital after South Shore?
Yes.
And what hospital was that?
I believe it was Brigham and Women's.
And were you able to visit her in Brigham and Women's?
Yes.
And did it take some time before they would allow you to visit with her?
Yes.
How long, if you know?
I think it was approximately 2 weeks.
Okay. And then you were able to see her pretty much on a regular basis?
Yes.
And where does your mother and father live?
In Connecticut.
And are you close to them?
Yes.
Can you tell the jury, from the time of this incident in January 24th of 2023 up until now, 2026, where has your mother and father been living?
My parents have been spending the majority of their time up here in Massachusetts.
Why?
So that they could visit Lindsay as much as possible.
Almost on a daily basis?
Yes.
Was that on a bed and breakfast or a bed and bath, or was it a hotel, or where were they staying?
They've been living out of hotels.
Thank you, that's all. You can inquire.
And that brings this portion of the testimony to a close. What we've heard here is a witness describing her sister's condition through personal observations and communications over several months. According to the testimony, Lindsay's demeanor changed around Thanksgiving 2022, her reported depression and suicidal thoughts worsened in December. She received medical treatment and was voluntarily hospitalized around New Year's, and she later appeared to show some improvement. The witness then described seeing Lindsay in January, shortly before the devastating events that followed. There is also an important courtroom distinction to keep in mind. This testimony, by itself, does not establish a final legal conclusion or tell us what the judge or jury ultimately decided. The transcript you provided ends with this witness being excused, and it does not contain a final ruling, verdict, or complete explanation of the legal issues in the broader case. So we should not manufacture an outcome that isn't in the record. What this testimony does provide is a first-hand account of what one close family member says she observed, what Lindsay reportedly communicated to her, and how the family responded before and after the tragedy. The emotional stakes are enormous, but courtroom analysis requires separating emotion from evidence and observation from inference. What do you think? How persuasive is this kind of first-hand family testimony when a jury is trying to understand someone's state of mind? And where should the line be drawn between compassion, hindsight, and legal proof? If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.